Hey, good morning, everybody. It is Thursday. And you know what? I got a request from one of our viewers. She's our gasaholic. I mean, she's our main gasaholic, Cassie Nunez. She is here every day along with us at Gas. We see her at car shows everywhere. She was on the show Tuesday night as well as one of our call in, I guess you could say, guests. So he had her there. So she asked a little bit about cars from Hollywood and the movies. Well, there have been so many cars that have been in the movies and in TV and so forth that have become famous or popular. One of my favorite, when I think about it to an extent, was the old Get Smart Sunbeam Tiger. But that doesn't even make the list. The top 25. Good morning, Kathy and Bill and Pete. The Green Hornet car, number 25 on the top 25 list of movie and TV cars. Now, there's kind of a conflict for me on this one because, well, it was in two different things, and it was two different cars. There was the movie Green Hornet, and there was the TV show Green Hornet. So which of those two cars do you like? Because they're completely different. Now, I like the TV version of it with Bruce Lee. I mean, that was the one. So the Green Hornet car is up there, but it's not known in the TV version. Good morning, Neil. How are you? And Danny Santos. All right, so we're going to look at some of them. In the 60s, there was a version of the mystery van. Now, the mystery machine or mystery van was the Scooby-Doo vehicle. Now, I've seen some photographs, and it ain't even close to what the movie or the cartoon show was, but the paint job was close and so forth. They say it was an Econoline, a 63 Econoline. I don't remember it being that old. But needless to say, the Mystery Machine, there have been a number of recreations, and the photo that I've seen mostly is that of a European van, not even a U.S. spec van. All right, now, to me, another car that stands out in movie history and stardom is the original James Bond Aston Martin DB5. I mean, this was a trick car. The ejection seat, something that would be very beneficial sometimes, depending on who you got as a passenger. The guns, the oil sprayer. Come on, guys. The Aston Martin DB5. That was probably one of the first, most iconic cars ever. I mean, come on. Just think about that. James Bond. Now, for those of you lighter-hearted, the iconic movie car for you might be the Love Bug from Walt Disney. I remember working at Walt Disney Studios or Disney Studios in Burbank when I was in college, and they had a whole bunch of these things sitting there on the back lot. Good morning, Ellen. How are you doing this morning? Ellen Fox, the birthday girl. Yeah, a couple of days late. Peggy is watching as well. Nigel Taylor, boy, we got a good representation of the people in UK. Thank you very much, guys. All right, so the Love Bug. Now, there were very different versions of that. They all looked similar from the outside, but mechanically and technically they were different. Danny Santos says Universal Studios Tour has a perfect mystery machine. It probably does, and it drives, and I believe it's based on a Chevrolet, not a Ford Econoline, like the history books say it was supposed to be. But who knows? All right, so the Green Hornet Impala, Imperial does show up a couple of times. Again, which do you like better, the movie or the TV show version? Now, all right, everything's the most iconic to me, but the reality is George Barris, he put specialty vehicles on TV and in movies to the point that they became standards that people looked up to and tried to emulate. Now, the original Batman car, the Batmobile, he gets a lot of credit for that car. And he did change the appearance, but it was a factory prototype that he bought for $1, and it was a Ford Futura. A lot of the styling cues from that ended up on the Lincoln of a few years later, but Ford didn't know what to do with it. Barris bought it. Perfect Batmobile. Change the color, add some trim, add some doodads, some things that make it look spacey, and you got the Batmobile. And whether you like it or not, that is probably the most identifiable TV or movie car that was ever produced. So take that, and I'll tell you what, it's the only Batmobile for me. Even though there have been others, yeah, they're too gimmicky and quirky. And the Batmobile, the original one, that's the one. Good morning, Cassie. Glad you joined us. Raphael from Italy, good morning to you. Mike St. Angel is watching. Now, one car that you may not think of as an iconic movie car or TV car was actually a car that's somewhat popular, and we have actually been trying to get a hold of the owner, to the current owner or a replica owner. We're not sure what it is just yet. But the Pontiac Firebird from the Rockford Files. Now, a lot of people don't think about that as an iconic car, but you know what? It sold Firebirds, and it put it on the map. A lot of people like James Garner. They watched the Rockford Files TV show. It was a very popular show at its time. And the Firebird, man, he would put that thing through its paces because, well, Jim Rockford was a great driver. And so was James Gardner, a real race driver as well. Starsky and Hutch, the big red tomato Torino. That car has been recreated by a number of people over the years, and it is still a popular and good-looking vehicle if you like those Torinos. It was brash. It was bright. Can you imagine cops driving around in something like that? Oh, yeah, that'd go unnoticed. Yeah, we could tail someone, and no one's going to follow us or know that we're following them, right? Right. All right, Cassie Nunez says there's an hour-long special on YouTube on the Batmobile. Shows all of them. That would be cool. I'll have to take a look at that. All right, Sanford and Sons. Okay, it was a kind of a ratty-looking F1 Ford pickup truck, but it's still considered one of the top 25, and that could be because of the age. Not the age of the truck, but the age of the viewers that are coming up with this. Dick Mosley, I agree with you. Norm Grabowski's T-Bucket was real. It's the R45 popular car. Tried to copy it. Yeah, the T-Bucket, I mean, that's great. And Brizio restored it last year. It showed up at the Grand National Roadster Show. And as I said, and I just wrote in an article, as a matter of fact, Dick, thanks for bringing it up. In American Rodder magazine, I wrote an article, and it includes the T-Bucket from Norm Grabowski. And that was a car that really got me into hot rodding because I saw it on TV a lot. Let's see if that shows up in the top 25, though. Again, age. Who are the people that are voting on this? Now, Mad Max. We saw all those movies with Mad Max and Mel Gibson, and it is still a popular series of movies. The A-Team van for Danny Santos, but we're looking at the top 25. Let's see if it comes in. Let's see if that comes in there. We haven't gotten that far yet, Danny. 74 customized Australian Ford Falcon XB. Now, it's got a big blower sitting out of the hood, and I did see a replica of this car at a Road Kings car show just a few years ago. There's one running around here in Southern California. Danny Santos says Fast Eddie had one of the stunt bands. He had a whole bunch of stuff. I remember Eddie having the Allison-powered cab-over big rig that Tex once owned or built. All right. Our friend Don Baldassaroni from the Road Kings just restored his Firebird Bandit. He has got the Bandit car. That is the Firebird black with gold pinstriping and accents and the beige interior. Every kid wanted one of those after that came out. Smokey and the Bandit, 1977 Trans Am. Pontiac was really active back then, putting cars in movies and TVs. And the Trans Am, the Bandit, you know, Burt Reynolds, before he passed away, sold off one of his, and man, that thing went up there. So let's take a look at that. Cassie's still pushing that supernatural car. I don't know. Pat Riley's watching us now. Raphael, do you remember the Columbus Peugeot? Yeah, I do. And a lot of people didn't know what that was because there weren't that many Peugeots sold in the U.S. Now, let's look here. The 80s now. Christine. The Plymouth Belvedere, 1957. I never saw the movie. I don't even know about it. I've heard the name Christine. I've seen the model cars. I've seen some of the race cars named Christine. I never saw the movie. But 57 Plymouth Belvederes, beautiful cars, pieces of junk, but beautiful cars. Chrysler had a lot of problems with those cars. Engines wouldn't seal, always burned oil, bodies would rust away overnight. There were a lot of issues with the 57 and 58 Plymouths and Dodges, although the Christine is pretty well known. All right, let's see here. Anyone else? Nope. All right. The Hardcastle and McCormick Coyote. Really? This was a kit car, that Volkswagen-powered kit car that ended up in the show Hardcastle and McCormick. Cool-looking car. I would have loved to build one. There was a kit out. I'm not sure if you can even find them anymore. But it was based on, roughly on a McLaren. It was a cool-looking car. It would be great. I'd like one of those. The Miami Vice 72 Ferrari Daytona Spider and the 86 Testarossa. Now, you got to remember, the 72 Spider that they used on the TV show wasn't really a Ferrari Spider. It was a kit car. It was a McBurney kit car on a Corvette chassis. Ferrari got pissed off finally, and they made him get a real Ferrari. They had the Ferrari Testarossa, the 1986. Hi, Lyle. How are you doing this morning? And Cassie is saying the 67 Impala from Supernatural named Baby. 15 years ago, it was a $500 car. Nowadays, it's $50,000. Really, Cassie? A four-door Impala? Only to the people that are watching the show. And frankly, Cassie, I didn't watch the show. All right, let's see. Cassie says they say in the book, maybe not the movie, but the book, it's a Fury. Well, they say it's a Fury, and the pictures I'm seeing also kind of look like a Fury, but could have been either one. Again, didn't watch the movie, don't know. Corey Weaver, how are you this morning? All right, TV aficionados, you watch Knight Rider. Did you watch it because David Hasselhoff, or did you watch it because of the Firebird? I watched it because of the Firebird. Hey, what can I say? That was a cool show back then. 1982, Firebird Trans Am. We've got a few of those running around. There's a club of these that have reproductions of this car. Some of them with the full-blown dashboard and lights and the voices coming out of it and so forth. We see them at the car shows all the time. Dukes of Hazzard, iconic car. I mean, there have been so many copies of that car, and it has destroyed so many Chargers over the years. But the Dukes of Hazzard cars moving right up there towards the top of the list. The A-Team van. Yeah, that was okay, kind of cool. A couple of fiberglass pieces, a push bar in the front, and three-tone paint job. Cool. It was out there. All right, now we get into the Tim Burton years of Batman and the Impala chassised Batmobile. It's kind of strange looking. It looks like it's a cross between a jet car and who knows what. And I saw it at the Peterson Museum a few years ago. It's kind of cool. And if I remember correctly, someone I know, Mr. Fireball, had something to do with that car. I might not be right or not, but we'll find out. Hi, Richard. How are you doing in Texas? Glad you tuned in for the show on Tuesday night, and welcome back today. Back to the Future DeLorean. Now, DeLoreans were going down in value pretty quickly, but after the DeLorean showed up in Back to the Future movies, it started getting noticed again, and there's a whole club of DeLorean owners, and they're even in the process of possibly bringing back the DeLorean. There's a person who bought the rights to the name and all the spare parts, and he's going to put them together as new cars. Good morning, Jeff. How are you doing there? What's with all the fuzz? What can I say? It's my COVID response. Since I haven't gone out that much, why shave? The Ghostbusters 59 Cadillac. Yeah, the hearse or ambulance. The Ghostmobile. The Ghostbusters Cadillac. It's there, and it's popular. Now, present day, there are some different vehicles that people have looked at, and according to the votes that went on this site, you're going to see some different cars. The Jurassic Park Ford Explorers. Glass tops, kind of neat looking. Okay, they're noticed. They're remembered. All right, now one of the cars that I find hard to believe anyone actually really remembers, though, is the Wayne's World 1976 AMC Pacer. Really? And Bill's saying he says he had a movie, and they say it's a 58 Plymouth Fury in Christine. Could be. Could be. This information that I'm looking at now says 57 Belvedere, but I kind of agree it should have been a Fury. But 58, for a 58, it'd have to have 4 headlights. If the movie shows a car with 2 headlights and 2 parking lights or directional signals next to the headlights, it's a 57 model. And that's the way they tell the difference between a 57 and a 58 Plymouth. Feds had not approved quad headlights yet in 57, so until 1958, there were no 4 headlight cars. There were only 2 headlights, but there was room there because Detroit wanted 4 headlights. So they ended up putting a parking light there. The illustration I'm seeing, or the photo I'm seeing of the Christine car, is showing a 1957 or 50. It's actually showing a 58 with 4 headlights. Even though so now that I'm talking about it, yeah, it's showing 4 headlights, but it's labeling it as a 1957, which isn't correct. So, yeah, it could be. I don't know. Like I said, didn't see the movie, don't know. Danny Santos, the original Pacer from the movie, was found and restored. Why? Okay, I understand. Yes, Bill, 4 headlights, you're right. Hi, Phil Hoffman, how are you doing tonight? Richard Turner's now here, and he says, pretty sure 58. And, judging by the photograph, I see yes. All right, so now we go into the other cars. Now, how many of you remember Dumb and Dumber? Yeah, the movie, Dumb and Dumber. Believe it or not, the 1984 customized Ford Econoline van called the Mutt Cuts van that was fuzzy, that made the top 25 list. Why? I don't know. The dumb thing about that is now, when I worked on the OEM side, the factory side of the automotive industry, I ran the customer relations department for a company. In Dumb and Dumber, if you remember the movie, the airbags deployed when they hit something, and they stayed inflated. You know what it was like trying to explain to people that were calling in complaining about their airbags that they had a leak? They thought they were bags full of air that was supposed to stay inflated. And that was the influence this movie had. So, okie dokie. All right, now another Batmobile. The Dark Knight version, 2005 edition of Batman movie, was the Lamborghini Tank. Okay. It was kind of neat looking and such, but didn't do anything for me. Oh, there was the movie or the TV show Lost. They had a 68 Volkswagen van that looked like it had more rust than metal. I don't know how that made the top 25, but it did. But let's look at some of the other TV cars that were out there. There was 100 greatest TV cars, they say. And the Monkey's Mobile. I go with the Monkey Mobile. You remember that? The Pontiac GTO, made into a very exciting machine to me. Hi, Merrick. How are you doing? Mike St. Angel. Ed Roth built some interesting cars like the Mysterion. Don't know if they made it to the movies. No, they didn't really, Mike, but they were cool and gassed over at Galpin Autosports. They've restored and have the largest collection of Ed Roth cars. And you can go see them right there in their showroom. All right, so the Monkey Mobile. Yeah, I agree with that. Dean Jeffries turned a GTO into a big, a Phaeton, basically. He had a big old-style roof on it and the monkeys down the side of it, and it was a cool car. Cannonball, 1970 Trans Am, Death Race 2000. Okay. Easy Rider, Harley Davidson. Well, we're not into cars, now we're looking at vehicles. And yeah, the Easy Rider Harley definitely brought out choppers to mainstream. And I remember seeing that movie. Oh, gosh, I was 18 years old when it came out. Oh, gosh, way back then. And it was cool. I remember seeing it, but I'll tell you what, after that, anytime I saw a pickup truck with a rifle rack in the back window, I got scared. Dick Mosley, yeah, Steve McQueen's Mustang, and it sold for $3.2 million, unrestored. And here, number 97 on the list is the Get Smart Sunbeam Tiger. Told you I liked it, and it shows up. Diamonds Are Forever, 71 Mustang Mach 1 from James Bond movie. Here's one I like. The original TV show The Saint with Roger Moore drove a 1962 Volvo P1800. I like those cars. The TV show was on from 1962 to 69 in Great Britain. I've been watching kind of the reruns of it here during our lockdown. You got to do something, so I binge watched that. Days of Thunder Chevy Lumina. Really? That made the top 100? Jurassic Park Explorer, we talked about that. Thelma and Louise 66 Thunderbird. Made the top 100. Didn't last very long, did it? Doesn't fly real well. Stripes EM50 Urban Assault Vehicle. Yeah, that was kind of cool. It was a big GMC van, motorhome. The Scooby-Doo Mystery Van, yeah. Speed Racer. Boy, there have been a bunch of those out, and that's popular too because it made history in cartoons. The Hooper 1978 Pontiac Trans Am. Unlike Bert's other Trans Am exploits, this red one, rocket propelled, drives under falling smokestacks. All right, the Green Hornet 66 Black Beauty Imperial. Dean Jeffries built the original one. He modified two Imperials, and that's what was used in the 1966 TV series with Bruce Lee. Also, the one thing the 2000 movie got right was using that Imperial. Hi, Michelle. How are you doing this morning? And Jeff just sent me a picture. I'll have to look at that. Ghostbusters, we talked about that. Monstermobile. That's got to be in the top 25, but it actually only makes number 84. Munster's Dragula, number 83, and that was the Coffin Dragster. Family Matters BMW Isetta. Urkel's car. Really? Okay. Fireball 500, 66, Plymouth Barracuda. Kind of remember that one. But that was a very culty movie. Frankie Avalon used this Barris Custom to tow Richard Petty's stock car. And there was a model kit of it. Miami Vice. Yeah, we talked about the Ferraris. Against All Odds, 84 Porsche 911. Don't even remember that one. Simpsons. Canario? I don't know. The Simpsons? A cartoon character? Okay. Death Race 2000? Yeah, okay. 1965, the TV show Stingray. It was on for a couple of years, and they used a fastback Corvette. Let's see what some of the comments are here. We got here. Cassie Noon, Hit and Run, bunch of cool cars. Yeah. Jeff Stillwell, the Monster Truck, Olympus Prime, were built by Mix Paint. Okay, I'll have to look at that. Vegas, the 57 Thunderbird that Robert Urich drove, and as his character Dan Tana. Never opened the doors. He always climbed in and out of that thing without opening the doors. McQueen, 1973 Trans Am. Bad Boys movie, the Porsche 911 they drove. Lightning McQueen, there have been a whole bunch of copies of that car. The Batman cars. Two-lane blacktop. 1970 GTO Judge. I don't remember that. From two-lane blacktop, I remember the 55 Chevy, which ended up being the same 55 Chevy used in American Graffiti. Tucker, the man in his dreams. I remember watching that TV show, or that movie of Tucker. It actually is number 68 on the hit list. Raphael says, Tony Beretta's 66 Chevrolet Caprice. Yeah. The Partridge Family Tour Bus. You got to put that in there someplace. What car is Lightning? You know what? It's an imaginary vehicle. It wasn't based on anything. Man from Uncle, the AMT Piranha. Yes, Alan, you got that. That is a neat car. And it was actually supposed to go into production as a production vehicle. AMT, the model company, was doing that. They actually built a race car, and one of the guys I know here on Facebook and is a famed drag racing driver, drove the funny car version or the race version of the Piranha. The original one that we saw on the TV show Man from U.N.C.L.E. was Corvair powered. There were a few made, and I've seen a couple of them restored, and they are still cool looking cars. The Rain Man Buick, American Graffiti, 58, all the cars from American Graffiti. The Italian Job Mini Coopers. Which Italian Job? The first one or the second one? Think about that one. Both minis, first generation, second generation. So 1968, 2003. The 2003 comes up number 64. The original Italian Job comes up as number 63. Casino Royale's Aston Martin DB. Yeah, we talked about that. James Bond's DB. It's number 62. Living Daylights 87 Aston Martin V8 Vantage. I don't know what Living Daylights was, but it was another Aston Martin. Let's see here. Cassie Nunez replying to Alan Gullen. What with Henry Cavill? I don't remember that one. Danny Santos. Chips bikes. Yeah, the Harleys that they rode, or not Harleys. They rode Kawasaki's, if I remember correctly, on the TV show Chips. You Only Live Twice, 67 Toyota 2000 GT. I've seen one of those in person. One of a friend I have that from Japan comes over here every once in a while for Pomona swap meets and so forth. He keeps in storage and drives a Toyota 2000 GT. It's $1 million car. He says, yeah, okay, I just drive it. Rebel Without a Cause Mercury. Yeah, that fostered a whole lot of Mercuries being built later on by people. It was an accepted custom. The Harahata Merc, the Rebel Without a Cause Merc, those were iconic machines. Transformers 76 Camaro, the Bumblebee. Yeah, and look what happened. Chevrolet came out with a Transformer edition when they returned with the Camaro in 2010. The 58, here's something that says the Christine Plymouth was a Fury and a 1958 model. They destroyed 20 of them. Oh, there aren't that many left, but they destroyed 20 of them in the thing. Fast and Furious, the 69 Dodge Charger. Yeah, pretty iconic. The Fast 5 69 Nissan Skyline GTR. I didn't see Fast 5. Yes, I did see Fast 5. Yeah, that is cool. Iron Man, Audi. Really? Okay. Simon & Simon's Dodge Power Wagon. I would have thought of Simon & Simon's Camaro before I would have thought of the Power Wagon. Too Fast, Too Furious Skyline, yeah. Better Off Dead, 67 Camaro with John Cusack. Never saw it. Le Mans. Every car from the movie Le Mans. Come on. Steve McQueen drove on the street a 70 Porsche 911, but the race cars, they were great. Fast and Furious Toyotas. Yeah, all the Fast and Furious cars have become somewhat iconic. Hollywood Nights 57 Chevrolet was actually Popular Hot Rodding Magazine's Project X. It was driven by Tony Danza. Thunder Road. Yes, a great Fords of that era. Now, this is saying a Thunder Road 50 Ford, but if I remember correctly, it was a 57 Ford. Risky Business 81 Porsche 928. Okay. Blues Brothers, Dodge Monaco, the cop car. Yeah. Route 66 Corvettes, any of the Route 66 Corvettes. And there were a number of them. The Italian Job Lamborghini Miura. That's the one that crashed and destroyed itself in the opening scenes of the original Italian Job movie. Dirty Mary, Crazy Larry, 69 Dodge Charger. Okay. 77 Sunset Strip. Here it is, Walt. 77 Sunset Strip, the kooky Ed Burns Wild Tea Bucket, built by Norm Grabowski, was in the 1959 to 1964 TV series. And yes, it is an iconic car to me. 77 Sunset Strip, number 39 on the hit list. The Bullet Dodge Charger. Okay. Corvette Summer. Now, I never saw the movie. I've seen the cars, though. Ugly as sin. Hi, Rick McGee, Corey Weaver. 1973 Corvette, all messed up in the 1978 movie with Mark Hamill. Gone in 60 Seconds, Mach 1 Mustang. 1973, they say. Okay. The Gumball Rally, Ferrari Spider. Gumball Rally, Shelby's. Godfather, the 41 Lincoln that gets just shot up with Sonny Corleone inside it. And that is considered number 33 in the most popular Hollywood cars. Really? All right, the Vanishing Point, 1970 Dodge Charger. Now, they used a number of them. Most of them were 440 and 4-speed powered cars. One was actually a 383. I don't know why, but they did. Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. Yeah, okay. It was a car made specifically for the movie. Back to the Future, we talked about that. American Graffitis, the 55, yep, we talked about that. It was also part of Two-Lane Blacktop, the movie. A-Team's van, yep. Fall Guy, remember that TV show? The Fall Guy. 1982 GMC Sierra, the stuntman. All the Batman cars. Danny Santos says Robert Mitchum drove an Olds-powered 50 Ford Club Coupe in the first part, and then he switched to a 57 Fairlane later in the film. The 57 is what I remember. Rafael Noriega, the original Hawaii 5.0 cars, Fords and Mercurys. Yeah, they were pretty commonplace. They weren't really anything special. The California Kid. Now, here is a very special car that is inside a lot of vehicles that have flames, and I'll give you a hint. Rotting USA is going to have a story on cars with flames, and that's one of the cars that's going to be talked about. I think I know who wrote it, too. Can't tell you, though. Magnum PI, the 78 Ferrari, sure. National Lampoon's Vacation, the 83 Wagon Queen. Oh, that was an amazing vehicle. Le Mans, all the cars there in Le Mans. Cannonball Runs, Lamborghini, Fast and Furious, yeah, we talked about that. Ronin, 1998 Audi S8. Okay. Ferris Bueller's Day Off, the 61 Ferrari 250 GT California. Yeah, the Ferrari in the 86 movie was just a replica, just like the one in the TV show that we talked about earlier. It was a Corvette kit car. Love Bug, we talked about that. Rockford File, Starsky and Hutch, Batman's The Original Machine, Mad Max, we talked about that. Gone in 60 Seconds, Shelby, Knight Rider. Okay, now remember, the Gone in 60 Seconds second movie with Nicolas Cage used a 67 Shelby GT500 clone. They called it Eleanor. Knight Rider, we talked about that. Bullet 68 Mustang, Graffiti 32 Coupe, another iconic car. Smokey and the Bandit, we talked about that. Spy Who Loved Me, 1977 Lotus Esprit that turned into a submarine. Okay, that's number 3. The Goldfinger 63 Aston Martin DB5, we talked about that. That's number 2. The number 1 Hollywood movie and TV car ever, according to this survey, Dukes of Hazzard's 1969 Dodge Charger. More than 300 Chargers were destroyed during the 145 episodes they did. Yes, Grand Prix with James Garner, but there was no iconic cars there because they were just basically race cars at the time. All right, so that's our top 100 movie iconic cars. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm Hot Rod Bob. You've got GAAS, the morning edition. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget, GAAS is on YouTube. That's right. Two Tired Guys and GAAS. We're on YouTube. Subscribe to our Two Tired Guys channel, please, and our GAAS channel. We got 2. We're going to move them all over into one and all become part of Two Tired Guys Productions. So if you would, go to Two Tired Guys. It's TOO, Tired Guys Productions, and check it out. Become one of our subscribers. It's free. Doesn't cost you a dime. And I'm getting ready to upload each and every morning edition of GAAS, and we're going to put those on that site as well for you to watch and reminisce on some of those rants I've had over the year. All right, guys, thank you very much for tuning in. You've got GAAS, the morning edition, brought to you by Moon Eyes, Beach Underwriting Associates, Tucker Tire, Service Tech, Service Equipment, Valley Head Service, Irwindale Speedway, and Drag Strip. You guys take care. Have a great day. I got a bunch of things I got to do today, too. I hope you do, too. Stay healthy. Stay safe. All right, Michelle. Take care now. Bye, guys.